get underway here. Start the recording and get into my screen share. Welcome. We're kicking off the first meeting here in January for the 2024 Mays Bike Month campaign. Purpose of Mays Bike Month: encourage people to replace car trips with bike trips, also known as mode shift. In this meeting, we're going to introduce a couple changes to the team for 2024. Look over what Love to Ride's done to their platform to make logging rides easier. Update you on the changes that Saba's made to our systems for 2024 and the event calendar. And discuss key events for 2024 that we have in the works. And then finish off with swag discussion, everybody's favorite part of Mays Bike Month. So joining our team this year is Arlette Hodel, Active Transportation Commissioner, and also sits on the Sacramento County Bike Advocacy Board. We'll be joining Lee Karp as Community Engagement Manager. They do a lot of the outreach to businesses and organizations around to help increase use and registration for Love to Ride. We'll have a chance to talk part of Chelsea's from Love to Ride's section of the meeting here in a few slides. Changes to this year, you'll see some branding for BikeSac Region 365. This is through a grant SACOG provided us to do some mode shift work year round. Some of that is centered around e-bikes, and you'll see us out and about in Sacramento this year with our e-bike fleet, getting people to get out and do test rides. Part of that also allows for Love to Ride campaigns to be run throughout the year. Those three main campaigns are Mays Bike Month, Biketober in October, and Winter Wheelers, which will be in January of next year. We did it in December of this year. We'll be tweaking that slightly for next year. So those campaigns are to kind of keep the engagement for Mays Bike Month going year round. We always see a spike in users and in community engagement during Mays Bike Month. We want to keep that energy going around and encourage people to use bikes for transportation needs every month of the year, because as we like to say at Saba, every month is Bike Month. Events, we are also rolling out the community calendar for year-round bicycling events, so that will be available for you to use. We'll take a look at that here in a few minutes with Hillary on what changes we've made. We've also started doing some special events based around the mode shift theme. Back in November, we did the Sacramento Supermarket Sweep, which is a variation on Cranksgiving, which was a food drive by bike. So we had teams register, plot a course around to a variety of supermarkets in the Sacramento region, collecting as many goods as they possibly could for donation to the River City Food Bank. We expect to be doing that event again in November of 2024. It's a great success, and we'll play around with more events based around that mode shift theme under the BikeSac Region 365 banner. I'll hand it over to Hillary to talk about 2024 events.
Thanks, Rob. Hi again, everyone. It's good to be back with you all, getting things rolling for Bike Month again. Here's our current plan for Saba events for May. We're excited to be working with Breathe California again for the kickoff. It's going to be April 28th on Sunday. We are going to be in West Sac again, but this time on the other side of the Tower Bridge, kind of by Drake's. And we all had such a great time, and heard from you guys that you had such a great time mid-May last year at Bike Dog. So we're going to do that again. That's going to be on May 11th, and that's a Saturday. And we're brainstorming some tentative activities with REI in that week leading up to it. I believe that, got to double check, but I think that week is also Ride to Work week. And we are moving the Open Streets event this year to Biketober. We're really excited about that. That does mean that that 18th and 19th weekend is kind of open now. We've already got ideas brewing for what that's going to be instead. And we will host our May social ride, at least one, probably more than one, but definitely one on Sunday, May 26th. So details to come on that as well. Oh, and the Open Streets event is in Rancho this year in October. So the community event calendar. Yeah, so as most of you probably remember, the process of adding events to the event calendar last year with the spreadsheets got kind of messy. So this year we are excited to have streamlined this into a Google form that anyone can access, not just partners. So we kind of brought this up at the fall check-in last year, but yeah, so no more spreadsheets. You can post stuff all year long. Our goal with BISAC Region 365 is people to post it all the time. So we're kind of creating community all year, not just around the 3 events or 3 campaigns. So you can share this with anyone. This link is public. So there's a Google form link here. There's also the link to the event page on the BISAC Region 365 website, which is the same as the old link to the Love to Ride site. There's a little submit it here button you can kind of see on that page. There's hyperlinks on this page, and you can also access it through the BISAC Region website. And recurring events are set up manually by our team based on like a checkbox. So if you do have a recurring event, just give us a sec. We on the back end will go through and add it in multiple times. And here are just some event ideas, a good list for any of you in case you still need some inspiration for events or for rides for the month. A really great one we want to highlight that usually works really well and is kind of simple to set up is organizing a community ride to an existing community event, even if it's not bike related. Farmers markets, plays, concerts, sporting events, the Honey Festival, Loopalooza, that kind of thing. You're all going to get a copy of this deck after the meeting, so you'll be able to access this list going forward. And I'm going to pass this, or have Rob pass this over to Chelsea Aventosa, who's going to give us all the excellent Love to Ride updates.
Hello. Let me see if I can share my screen and get this up. Share screen desktop too. Okay, I think y'all can see that. Yeah. Okay, cool. Let me get, gosh, too many screens. Okay. So I'm just going to quickly go through some updates and what's new on the Love to Ride platform. As Rob and Hillary mentioned, if you've got questions about the things that I'm talking about, just unmute yourself and ask, because I can't see most of you when I'm in presentation mode. So if you raise your digital hand, I won't be able to see it. So just ask. And then I'll hand it over to Lee and Arlette to introduce themselves as our community engagement managers, and talk a little bit about the work they'll be doing for May is Bike Month and how you all can use them as a resource to help support your local May is Bike Month events and initiatives. So firstly, wanted to provide an update on our 500,000 mile goal. So this is, as Rob mentioned, part of that Mode Shift grant. Part of the work that we want to do is continuing to get people to switch their car rides for bike rides. So running errands, riding to work, as shorter, as long as those trips are, we want them to be logged on Love to Ride year round so that we can track progress. So we set a big goal of riding 500,000 miles. We're almost a quarter of the way there. And just for reference, during May's Bike Month last year, about 90,400 transportation miles were logged, which is just about 20% of our 500,000 mile goal. So in 1 month, we know it is possible to achieve about 20% of this goal. And so we've got just over 75% of the goal left. So given that May's Bike Month is 1 month and every other month is also 1 month, this is achievable if people are logging their rides year round and not only during May and October during those bigger challenges, but actually just using the platform year round so that we can really see that Mode Shift work in action. So next is an update about our app. So the Love to Ride app has been available on iOS for over a year now. The Android version is now available publicly in a testing version. So if you search in the Play Store, you will be able to find the Love to Ride app, with the caveat that that is still undergoing lots of testing, just because there's so many different types of Android devices that are used versus iPhones are just one type of device. So the tracking of the riding is a lot more difficult for the machine learning to predict on Android devices. So if you do download and use that, we really appreciate your feedback to help us improve it. And if you notice any issues or bugs with it, report those through the app straight to the developers, and they release multiple new editions of that app like every day. So it's constantly a work in progress. So please do download and use the Love to Ride app. What that app does that's different from an app like Strava, for example, is that it just can automatically track your bike rides, kind of like a Fitbit tracks your walking. So if you've got the app on and running on your phone, it doesn't take up, it doesn't use up much battery, so it won't drain your phone's battery, but it can detect, really accurately when you're riding a bike. And that's what is constantly improving now in the Android app, is the accuracy of the tracking or of the logging of the transportation mode that you're using. People who use the app are also going to be going into monthly prize drawings. So these are separate from Maya's Bike Month prizes or Biketober prizes. These are ones that Love to Ride provides. So anyone using the app on a monthly basis will be entered into those drawings automatically. And then obviously all of the data that we're collecting about people's riding, that anonymized aggregate data, is going to be really useful for helping support infrastructure decisions, planning decisions. And it's also cool to just see your own personal heat map of where you've ridden and try to light up all the roads around your area as you ride. So that's my little spiel on the Love to Ride app.
Chelsea, I have a question.
Yeah,
Does the app, so the speed of e-bikes is faster, of course, than the human powered bikes. Does the app, is it able to distinguish that you're on an electric bike?
It will class an e-bike as a bike ride. We don't just,
so it's able to register.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
I have an e-bike and it tracks mine all the time. Any other questions about the app? Cool. If you think of anything, feel free to just ask me whenever. Oh, I see a digital hand. Luckily, you popped to the top of my screen.
Yep,
Just unmute yourself. Go for it.
Hi. Yeah, I was wondering if we are able to change our default, like the purpose of the ride. I know the default purpose now is like recreation or something like that. And that's not usually while I'm riding, and going in and doing that manually kind of defeats the purpose of the automatic logging.
It defaults now to a transportation ride. So it'll be a ride from A to B.
Okay.
And if you change that, especially, I think definitely on the web, but especially on the app, every ride after that will default to what your previous ride was logged as.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I've also had that problem, Michael. My commute to the Saba office is about 15 miles or so, and tends to be any ride under 10 miles, especially in those often commute hour windows, gets tagged as transportation. But if it's over 10 miles, it's considered more of a recreation ride, so I often have to go in there, but there has been some fine tuning on Love to Ride's part of trying to better identify transportation trips versus recreational trips.
Yeah, and it should be that once you've switched a ride from fun or fitness to transportation, the next time you log a ride, it logs as a transportation ride. So if you're someone who's riding for fun and for transportation, you will have to go in and edit that occasionally. But if you're like me, where you basically only ride to work, it'll be pretty easy. Once you change it, it'll stay that way.
Yeah, this is a great feature to have the Android app for this year's campaign. We noticed in the numbers from last year that basically we're getting automatic tracking from half the cell phones out there. There's a lot of participation, and as somebody who logs my longer rides, I don't always log my transportation trips. So this is a great way to capture that data.
Yeah, absolutely.
Chelsea, one more thought. Is there a way to reach out or have your partners reach out to the shared micromobility services and suggest that they promote Love to Ride throughout the year so that we capture those riders using the devices?
Yeah, that's a great idea. I'm sure Lee and Arlette will be able to coordinate reaching out to those folks. Okay, I'm gonna keep moving on to some updates on our web platform. Because I think some of these will be of interest to you guys. So we've made an improvement to the workplace profiles. So now any workplace that has used the industry education university or education school has been swapped over from being a workplace to a university or school profile. What that means is that people who join that profile will be asked whether they are an employee or a student at that institution. And if they're a student, they'll be set under a different tab than coworkers, so we can differentiate between staff and students, which is a really nice improvement because previously students and employees were either joining the same workplace and then it wasn't easy to differentiate who was who, or students were creating groups separate from the employees, and then the groups aren't competing in that workplace competition. So this way, students' miles and employees' miles are contributing to that school's overall score. Again, this is for students who are 13 and older. We have an experiment that we're going to do that I'll share with you at the end of this to try to incorporate some of those younger students as well, because I know that that's important to lots of you. So I will get to that in the end, but I'm just going to go through the currently existing updates and then we'll get to that. Related to that, we have added an occupation section to your rider profile. So when you go to edit your profile settings, you've got these different tabs now. So your info, that's kind of the page that you'll be used to seeing. It's where you can edit your name, your address, all of that kind of stuff. You'll now also see this occupation tab, and you can decide or you can edit this and indicate whether you're a student, whether you are an employee, or whether you're retired, so that we have an accurate indication of who's riding with us, and then they get prompts that are relevant for them. So we're not asking retired folks to join a workplace or anything like that. And it just makes it really clear that, if you are a student, you're a student currently, you're part of this university. So if that's not correct, it makes it really obvious so that people can then go in and change it or join the correct location. So anyone, just to reiterate this, because there's confusion every year, anyone who's retired is invited and welcome and very welcome. And we want them to ride with us during May's Bike Month. So while there is this kind of workplace competition happening, even if you're not working or you're retired, you are welcome to join, log your rides. You'll still earn points. You'll still be eligible for all of the prizes. It's just that you won't be part of a workplace profile that's competing on that workplace leaderboard. So that's just the one element that, you won't be part of because you don't have a workplace. But I just want to make that really clear that retired folks are invited to join, and the riding is not just commuting, it's riding anywhere all year long, but specifically for May's Bike Month in May. So just to make it really clear that if people say, oh, I don't ride to work, so I can't do May's Bike Month, you can say, that's not true. You can do May's Bike Month if you ride anywhere. Just to make sure that as many people as possible can get involved. Another cool improvement that we've made is this workplace data dashboard. So every workplace profile on Love to Ride, their champion will have access to this live data dashboard under the reporting tab of their profile, their workplace profile. So if you go onto your own profile and click on your workplace, If you're the champion of your workplace, you'll be able to click edit and you'll get into this kind of back end area. So in this edit section, that's the area where you'd update the name of the workplace or the address, the number of staff that work there. And then if you go over into this reporting tab, you get this data dashboard that will tell you information about the employees that are logging rides, obviously aggregate data, just to give you some insights in the type of people that are riding, the types of rides they're doing, when they're doing them. So this is really useful data for workplace champions, and kind of a nice, for lack of a better word, selling point. It's free for them. Everyone can take part for free, and workplaces get access to this for free, thanks to SACOG and SABA. So encouraging them to take advantage of this data that they have access to is really important. So making sure everyone knows that that is available to them. And then last but not least, in the updates world is the new Log a Ride button. So the Log a Ride button is now on the main menu bar right next to your name if you're on the web. So that'll appear on every single page of the site, because this blue or turquoise menu is on every single page of the website. If you're looking at it on your phone, it looks like this. So this big yellow button up at the top right next to your name, you can just click that very quickly, manually log a ride. So for folks who are not syncing an app or using the Love to Ride app and prefer to go and manually log their rides, it makes it super easy, super clear once they're logged in, how to do that by just clicking this Log a Ride button. And that was a suggestion that was directly implemented based on feedback from you all. So thank you very much, because that's been implemented worldwide. It's not just for you. So that's a really positive change that you guys have helped us make. So thank you for that feedback.
Hey, Chelsea.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Eric with Blue Zones Project Yuba Setter. Just a quick question. This is really, it looks like a really awesome tool. We definitely want to make a push for this in our region. Just wondering, in terms of the teams, is someone able to join multiple teams? Like if they wanted to do like a workplace competition, and then, maybe at Blue Zones, we wanted to encourage people to join and do like a little healthy competition. Would we be able to, get people to join two teams, or and then also, would we be able to see like data on the back end in just our region for how many people bike using this app?
Yeah, so let me answer both your questions. So for the first one, we'll go into a lot more detail about how the platform and how the challenge works, probably on the next partner call, where I'll kind of full walkthrough of how it all works. And we'll have more information then. But basically, everyone can join one workplace, but you can join multiple, what we call clubs or groups. So those can be social. It can be anyone you want that you invite to those. There's no size limit on those. The clubs and groups, there's a leaderboard for them that exists year round. And then what you also have within a workplace profile is those departments. So say your departments at your workplace want to have kind of an internal competition. As long as everyone joins the workplace profile and then has also joined their relevant department, you'll have internal leaderboards for those as well. And those are also year round. They're not just during May's Bike Month. But during May's Bike Month, in that workplace competition, the workplace as a whole will compete on the leaderboard and will be competing against other workplaces around the 6 counties based on size categories, based on staff counts. I know that's a lot of information if you're new to this, so we will go over that probably on the next partner call.
Great, thanks so much.
I also didn't answer your second question, which is, yes, we're able to see how many people are riding in each county, and SABA has access to that data. So that is available for you.
Yeah, we're happy to share any of that that data that you might need. And we do a large report at the end of the campaign for SACOG to analyze that data. So we can give you updates throughout the month. Just reach out to myself or Hillary.
Cool.
Thank you.
So I'm going to explain our experiment now, which is our schools and students experiment for classrooms, students that are 12 and under, because the age limit for creating a profile on Love to Ride is 13 and older due to data and privacy protection laws that are active in California and worldwide. We can't allow children who are under 13 to create profiles, but I know that we've had lots of feedback from you all that we want to try to get more younger children involved in May is Bike Month, and that teachers are looking for a way to get their classes involved. So we're going to trial this experiment. Anyone who would like to do it is welcome to do it, and then we're open to feedback at the end, because we're essentially kind of doing a workaround and seeing how it goes. So how it's going to work is if a teacher would like to get their students involved and have their class compete in the May is Bike Month challenge on that workplace leaderboard, what we're going to ask teachers to do is to create a second profile. So presumably they'll have their own profile where they're logging their own rides. They're part of their school workplace that they work at. Separate from that, they would create a second profile with a different email address, and they would create a workplace just for their class. So the workplace might be called Mrs. A's second grade class, such and such elementary or whatever. And then physically in the classroom every week, they can track their students' writings on writing on a chart or a paper or a printout as seen here. So they can have each student a weekly log, and then as frequently as the teacher would like, they can go and update that second profile that's used just to log kind of an aggregate number of rides of their students, either daily or weekly, however often they would like, so that all of the students' miles are contributing to that class's points, and that will get them to be able to compete on the leaderboard. But it doesn't compromise the privacy of the children. It does create obviously a little bit of work for the teachers who maybe want to do this. So obviously no one's forced to, but we know that a lot of people have wanted to get involved in some way and haven't had a way to. So this is kind of what we're proposing that teachers can do if they would like to get their classrooms involved, if they have students that are 12 and under. And we are open to feedback as this goes, because we've not trialed this before. Technically, the Love to Ride platform's not built to work like this, but we want to see how it goes as a little experiment. So any thoughts are welcomed, and yeah, let's go for it. I see a digital hand from Michael.
Yes, thank you. So I was wondering how, if there would be any difference in the way that prizes would work for this sort of a situation, because if they get drawn for like an e-bike or something like that, they're not going to be able to split it amongst all the students. So would there be like groups of small prizes that would go to schools, or?
We haven't worked out all the details, but what we've briefly discussed is that classrooms that get involved might get some of like little swag bags with the May is Bike Month swag. I think we would have to just exclude those teacher profiles from the main prize drawings, because as you said, we can't split an e-bike into 25. So that second profile probably just wouldn't be eligible for the main prizes, but we want to make sure that the students can feel like they're getting involved and helping their classroom compete, and then potentially recognizing their participation with a certificate and maybe some swag. And that's something that we just haven't we came up with this idea yesterday, y'all. So we're working on the fly here, but that's a good, it's a good consideration and duly noted.
Excellent point, because yeah, they're logging miles from their class, so you know, shouldn't count towards like, you know, a grand prize. Excellent thing to consider. Thanks, Michael.
Yeah, and then thank you. One more point is, since there are a number of categories that you can log a ride under this form, have you thought about ways that they could identify whether the trip was for transportation, recreation, or what?
That's one of the limitations of this, because we're doing it in aggregate. we really won't be able to differentiate. I think it would be, you know, the teachers will be able to track that on their papers. But on the actual platform, because we're kind of trying to use a workaround based on the technology that we have available to us, I don't think we're going to be able to differentiate that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments about this? Deb, I think I see your physical hand.
You see both. They're both up there. Good morning, everybody. Deb Banks, Executive Director, Saba. I push for this, I'll just say. I push for this experiment, you guys, and it really is an experiment. So it's rough, but I know that there have been schools and teachers who've been interested in participating, and we've not really been able to figure out any kind of way because of the laws, right? Which are the right thing. The laws are the right thing. But any teacher that really wants to and gets into it could totally set up some kind of a system where kids are doing their own logging. I mean, it could turn into a math lesson. It could turn into all sorts of different kinds of educational, you know, spins on it, instead of just we're doing this thing for, you know, everybody. You know, we're doing this thing for the adults in the world to ride their bikes. It could turn into, you know, a science lesson around climate. It can turn, I mean, how do you burn calories? I mean, there's all sorts of stuff that it could be woven into if the teacher's interested in it. So really, it is absolutely 100% an experiment. And, you know, we'll just see how it goes. I do think that we could figure out some ways to create some incentives. I'm seeing some stuff that's coming up. Claudine's already like jamming in the chat about some ways to incentivize teachers and or kids. Plus, you know, some of the swag that we've done in the last couple of years have been very student focused. Buttons, stickers, slap bands, bells, those things all are like fly off of the tables. I've noticed in the last couple of years when we do things that are more student related, younger student related. So let's see how it goes. You know, I'm just really hoping that we get some good feedback and yeah, see if it flies. Thanks.
Thanks, Deb. Michael?
Yeah, I was wondering if maybe I could tap into Deb's experience, and she's got a bit of experience in education. How do teachers find out about things that are happening locally? Are there like message boards? Are there you know, newsletters, or how would you get the word out about this you know, broadly, rather than just relying on somebody taking it to their kid's teacher or their kid's principal?
Yeah, I do know that right off the top of my head, there are people that are on this call that are engaged in safe routes to schools. That's a natural, you know, inflow of information. Also, a number of the TMAs have some connections to schools, so that's another place. We could easily create some not the promo pack, but some communication tools and things that get into different schools and explain what's going on and see if anybody wants to play. So we could create those kinds of assets and then dissipate them. And then you guys, I mean, I know you're a parent, Mike, so I would totally see you going to your school and saying, hey, you guys want to play? Here's how. And maybe we can, if anybody else on this in the partner group is really interested in this, we can have our own like sub meeting and flesh out some of the ways that this could become an educational experience for teachers and or how to get the word out to parents, et cetera, et cetera.
You can also drive it through the school districts themselves.
Sure.
Yeah, I know. I'm with the city of Yuba City, and for a lot of the promotional stuff that we do for our programs, and the schools in our district are using Peach Jar. And so that you pay a fee and you send it out to the district. They approve the flyer or whatever you're sending out, and those go directly to parent emails.
Oh, that's a really good point, Deb. Any material needs to be in both English and in Spanish.
Yep, we agree with that completely, Jennifer. So for sure, we would have to have stuff that's been translated. And I think that we have those, we have the ability to do that. So not an issue.
Yeah, the Love to Ride promo pack is available in both English and Spanish. And we've had some success producing materials for our Mode Shift campaign and getting those translated into Spanish as well. So should not be a problem.
And I guess I wanted to say one thing. This is very similar to the teacher tally surveys that Safe Routes to School coordinators do biannually to connect with how many kids are biking, walking, and riding to school. And one of the ways that makes this really successful is incentives for the teachers themselves. Thank yous, because they're taking their time away from something else. So anything you can help to promote that, even if it's just a book about biking that they could share with their students, something that, bolsters their classroom experience too, would be great.
That's a great idea.
Great ideas. I can think of a couple books that maybe we could purchase, raise some money for and purchase to give to teachers for their classrooms around biking. That'd be really great.
One thing I wanted to say is that you might want to put like the school name, how you have class and blank. Might want to put like the school. Because I know at my kids' school, there's not enough kids in one classroom maybe to make a difference, but as a whole, the school could really have some numbers.
That's a great suggestion. Thanks.
And since this is a pilot or a test, right now, the city of Davis, we have a program called Active for Me, where kids scan in at all the elementary schools with how they got to school. And so this might be a great way to take that data and to push it into the system. It's going to take a little bit of coordination, but it could be a good first step to even see how it works.
Cool. Thank you for those comments and that feedback. It's really useful. Anything else on this? All right, I will move on to the next one, which is just a quick reminder again about that events calendar that Hillary mentioned, just a screenshot of what it looks like. Just a reminder that it's under the info tab on the events page. On the Bike Sac Region website, which is lovetoride.net/SacRegion or maysbikemonth.com. Those all redirect all the same place. It's all the same thing. So you can submit your events using that link, just as a second reminder in case you zoned out the first time around. And I'm just gonna turn it over now to our community engagement managers just to say hello and introduce themselves. You may know one or both of them from last year's Mays Bike Month or other things that they're involved in. We've got Lee Karp and Arlette Hodel. So I'm just going to let them introduce themselves and just speak a little bit about the work that they'll be doing to promote Mays Bike Month. So Lee, take it away.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I'm excited to be here. I actually realized I have worked with Love to Ride. I did 2 projects in Atlanta, Georgia, and then I did kind of a half project 3 years ago, but it'll be 3 years for Mays Bike Month this year. So woo, I'm excited. We have definitely grown and done amazing things, and I'm excited to work with everybody again. I am also the membership development director for the 50 Corridor and Sacramento TMA. So many of you on here I have spoken with or do things with all the time. And then others I got a chance to speak to last year. And I am looking forward to working with Arlette and let her talk about all the good, awesome things she is doing and has done. But this year, I want to start early. So Arlette and I are going to start talking to y'all early. And I love this example of kids in classrooms because this is kind of the things that we need. You know your communities way more than we do in some cases. And we want to know what, maybe you have a contact with a school district and maybe you have a contact with, a workplace, a large workplace in your area. We want to know how you can introduce us to them. Or maybe it's something about we want to know the public information officer for your area so they can distribute information about not only riding, but also getting workplace more involved. And also, talking about the language things. We want to know, sure, English and Spanish is good, but there's some other languages we may need to know about in certain communities too. And you can help us with that. So just to let you know, Arlette and I will be reaching out to you. We don't want to stalk you, but we would love to speak with you and learn more about what you've got going on. We can help you get creative. I know Arlette has a lot of experience with getting people to ride in the community in general. So I think that both of us can help your efforts and engaging more people throughout May is Bike Month. That's me. Arlette, take it away.
Hi. Well, I'm new to this job, and so I am looking forward to being mentored by Lee, because I really don't know what this all entails. However, I will say, as a retired school teacher, I am really excited about involving schools, teachers, and students in the riding. I think one of the most important things is make it really easy for the teacher to participate. They have so much going on, and to ask them to do one more thing is sometimes a big ask, but I think if there's enthusiasm out there, I think we can make this component really successful. I'm not sure what else to share with you. So thank you.
Oh my gosh. All right, I'm going to jump in. Let me
Thank
just
you,
say
Deb.
that both of these ladies are total rock stars, and we needed to clone Lee, and the best we could do was Arlette, and the best we could do was Arlette. Arlette's a retired school teacher. She's taught hundreds of people how to ride bikes. She's a master LCI, meaning mentors, people that want to become LCIs, teaches LCI stuff, works for Jibe, works for Saba, and she rides her bikes all over the nation. So may I just say, rock star. We couldn't be happier about this team. I'll just say. Chelsea, you're on mute.
I know, I couldn't figure out how to get my Zoom menu back, but I think I've done it now. The full screen presentation thing is really throwing me. Okay, well, that is basically all from the Love to Ride team. I've just put our email addresses and reiterated Rob and Hillary's in case you've got questions for them. But Lee and Arlette will be kind of your first line of contacts, or first line of contact as our community engagement managers. They want to hear from you, and you will be hearing from them for sure. As Lee mentioned, as Arlette mentioned, she's brand new. This is like her first day officially in the job. So we're going to get her onboarded and teach her all about all the ins and outs of May is Bike Month. And she's, because of all that experience, going to hit the ground running with it. So we're really excited. Does anyone else have any questions, comments? Deb, go for it.
Sorry. One thing that we didn't do anything about last year, and I want to bring it up this year, and it has already slipped my mind, so I'm bringing it up, is Bike to Work Day. And Bike to Work Day, sadly, this year falls on a Friday. It did last year as well. National Bike to Work Day is May 17th, which is a Friday, which is the worst day of the week, in my opinion, because there aren't that many people that have to be in their business locations, in their offices, and certainly not on Fridays. The new world of working from home allows quite a bit more flexibility. So my question to you guys is, should we set up our own Bike to Work Day sometime during that week and try to do some kind of an event that happens during that week instead of Friday, and promote that as our Sacramento region Bike to Work Day, or Bike to Any Place Day? I just want to bring it up because it's slipped by for the last couple of years because it's kind of confusing and it's a horrible day of the week. So I just thought I'd bring that up. Any ideas?
Deb, we've been doing polls and surveys and talking with a bunch of our members, and a lot of the state agencies have changed to 2 days a week coming in as of January 1st. And most are coming in on Tuesdays or Wednesdays. That's when the most people are at their place of work. So if we do something, I definitely agree. Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, nobody's coming in.
Yeah, I'm just curious about other people. If we try to create something on a Tuesday or Wednesday, would other people be interested in participating in some way? Hey, Mike, what you got?
When you had said bike to whatever day, made me think, since work has been so dramatically changed for so many people since COVID, what about like a bike to play day, like on a Saturday? And that way people can go to a park or go to a movie or go to a play or something on a bike and log that. I think, play is much more universal and hardy an activity with the changes, the way they've affected work. So throwing that up there is a possibility.
Like it.
Deb, were you thinking like one signature event like before COVID that we used to have, or each place have their own small thing?
I'm open. I just think that we shouldn't let it maybe go by. Claudine is saying that the Bay Area's got Bike to Wherever Day over the weekend, the 16th through the 18th. So that's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, isn't it? Yeah. I kind of like that Bike to Play or Bike to Wherever. I don't know. How about everybody mull it over a little bit and, think about it and just let's see if we can create something.
Yeah, I can see us creating a campaign where we maybe organize an event locally, like Energizer stations on that Thursday, but have the messaging be like, hey, even if you work from home, bike to wherever during that date range to tie it in with what's going on in the Bay Area, or we create our own standalone kind of campaign around biking to work or biking to play that's Sacramento specific.
So just teeing off on that, I think that there is an opportunity to like work with our shared micro mobility operators to push people onto devices like during that period of time and do like a promo code or something, an incentive. So just putting that out there.
Excellent idea.
I love it. Bike to Fun Day. I love it. Right on, Jenny. I'm with you.
What if you guys did a bike just like, because bike to work on Friday, maybe I feel like with the state organizations, I understand what you're saying, but I don't know if that's the bulk of all of the people. I know that if Bike to Work Friday was here, that it's a normal day. And that you would get a lot of participation. What if you would get the same participation on a Tuesday as you would a Friday? So if you had that event, like if you're going to do a full-on event like we used to do at the Capitol, I totally see it being on a different day than Friday. That makes sense. But if you like say, this is our bike to, when people can promote that bike to week, or it's like it seems like a little less work if you tag on to the national one is all I'm saying. You've got all this other stuff going on. So if you just say bike to work is Friday, bike to play is Saturday, it kind of flows. And then if somebody is like, well, that bike to work isn't going to work for me on that Friday, we're going to celebrate it on Tuesday. If it's just a station that I'm doing outside, then I could do it whatever day that week I want. That seems to flow with my workplace.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like that idea too, like creating the whole week, and then we could set in our city, we could have Energizer stations on different days if we choose to, and celebrate throughout the week. Makes it easier for us to manage.
Excellent ideas.
I'm so glad I brought it up.
Yeah, unless anybody has any more comments on Right to Work Week / day, we will start discussing swag options for the 2024 campaign. This slide has some pictures of some of the swag that we produced for 2023. Socks will certainly be returning. These are always a crowd favorite. I think we have one more color refresh left in this design. 2022, we had a red design to them. We upgraded it to the teal color. For 23, I believe this year the plan is to go with a yellow variant of this design. And then, we'll look at refreshing the design completely for 2025 when that comes around. The bandanas were a huge hit last year with the ABC quick check instructions. We'll also look at doing a color refresh. This is a great piece to have sponsor logos on as well. So those will get updated for this year's sponsors. And then we'll be investigating some color options on that. We had a limited number of bells last year that were one of our more requested items. All those bells came courtesy of Deb and her company Rivet Cycle Works. So we're looking at some more cost-effective ways to do more bells this year and placing a bulk order with some branded bells to come in and exploring the timeline on what that would look like and if we're able to get them here on time. Slap bands will definitely be returning this year. Huge hit with kids and all of our tabling. Great for visibility. We will be doing a totally different sticker design this year with a few variations on it. We have a new staff member at Saba who has a background in the arts, so we're going to talk to her about doing something hand-drawn and unique for this year. So there's visual differentiation for those who collect stickers. A little reminder of how we use swag and best uses for swag. It's a great way to reward people for registering for the campaign on Love to Ride. This year, we're going to be using the Love to Ride's quick sign up link, which streamlines the registration process. So instead of being a full web page of information, gets the most vital bits and gets them created much easier, much quicker interactions when you're tabling. And those will be included into the QR codes that we send out on sign up materials. So it'll take people directly to the quick sign up page versus the sign up page we were using last year. Another great use for it is rewarding people for logging rides. So we've been at events and say, hey, just show me your Love to Ride and that you've logged a ride this month, and we'll give you a spin of our prize wheel, or we'll give you a slap band. One of our lessons learned from the 2023 campaign is that we need to work harder on converting people who have registered into riders and getting them to take that next step from just registering for the campaign to logging rides. Rewarding them with swag is an excellent way to do that. T-shirt opportunities. There's a small and vocal contingent who really love T-shirts. So we're looking at a couple of options for this year's campaign. Tim at True Color Lithographic, who does a lot of our printing work, will open up for partners to pre-order T-shirts directly through True Color Litho. These would be at the partner's expense, and then delivered to them with the rest of their swag. Then during the campaign, we'll have a website through a print-on-demand service for anybody in the community who wants to order a T-shirt can do so through the website. Do-it-yourself swag. We had some great success, I think, with Yolo County and Brian's May is Bike Month flags, being one of the first groups to start producing their own swag for this. Saba produced over $20,000 worth of swag for last year's campaign, which all comes from fundraising that Saba does from the sponsorship drive to finance all those giveaways. So it was great to see some partners, put the effort in to create unique items for their region. Stickers are an easy and inexpensive way to create some distinctive branding for your own events. Having one for Loopalooza or the Honey Festival or your ride to work day at your office. Sites like Sticker Mule, Sticky Brand, you can get 100 stickers for under $20 and have that kind of unique piece for your event. Swag ordering and requests will be the same process as last year. We got a lot of great feedback that it worked well for folks. So there'll be a Google form set up, same as last year, with all the items that we produced, and you can request your amounts. Then you'll get an invoice to confirm what we have for you. We'll use the same distributed pickup points for areas outside of Sacramento proper, with partners in each county to help get those out to all the participating community groups and partners for their region. So we'll begin reaching out to folks who did that last year for us, if they'll be able to continue that duty for 2024, and if not, reaching out to find new folks to help get those materials out into the community. Anybody have questions on swag or requests, ideas? Yes, Corey.
Yeah, I have a question. So for the swag ordering, remind me when you expect the due date to be to get those requests in.
We need to look at when we sent that out last year. I think we should have orders finalized, or at least materials finalized for the orders in the coming month or two. So I would anticipate late February, early March.
Okay, sounds good. And feel free to reach out to me. I'll do the distribution for Placer.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, there will be only dates, I think, on the stickers again this year. Allows for reuse, and next year if there's a surplus, we don't want to have. We want to limit the amount of dated materials that and increase their availability for use outside of that campaign window. Patches are a great idea. We do have a source for patches, and I've seen them used in other cycling campaigns. Might be a fun avenue to pursue.
Oh, can I ask a question? Has there any discussion about putting like a regional bike map on a bandana?
Yes, regional bike map is something we've actually been working with Civic Thread, I believe, on, and David Moore there. Getting kind of a stylized look at existing bike trails and how to connect between different regions of town and in a organized map. That asset is taking a while to develop, and I think ideally that's when we started talking about bandanas last year, was my first thought of having like a London Underground type subway map on there of showing American River Bike Trail, Del Rio Trail, Two Rivers Trail, and some of the existing bike infrastructure. So we would love to do that. It's just a matter of getting those assets created. Well, thank you. We'll start meeting monthly on the second, was it third Thursday? I think we're decided. We'll send it out for February 15th for next month. I think we found last year that the monthly meetings were pretty productive, and we can have smaller group meetings. I know YOLO has their 9 weeks of May's Bike Month group that produce a lot of great stuff. If other regions want to kind of create some more regionally focused meetings, like Yuba Sutter, happy to be participate in those as well. And then our contact information is here. Hillary and I are project managers for the campaign. Diana Fontaine, our social media manager, will be presenting it probably in our February meeting about how we'll be approaching social media for this year. Lee Karp and Arlette have Love to Ride email addresses on this slide. Chelsea, as well as the senior program manager, project manager for Love to Ride. And then technical support at Love to Ride, just support at Love to Ride. If you're running into bugs, there's also an easy way to report those if you're using the Love to Ride apps. But if anybody has any questions, I'd like to open the floor if there's anything they'd like to discuss. Excellent. Well, thank you for participating, and we'll be sending out a recap of this, both my deck and Chelsea's deck later this afternoon. We'll upload a video recording of this meeting to YouTube and send that around as part of that as well. And then, yeah, May is just around the corner. It's going to be May before we know it. So I'm looking forward to creating another successful campaign with everyone. And I think we're getting a great list of partners together to do that.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody. Appreciate it. Good to see everybody.
Yep. Have a great week.